from Burnsville.
All right, and Caroline.
Hi, I'm Caroline Haig, and I'm a freshman from Bloomington, Minnesota. Wait, we're all from Minnesota, sorry.
It's okay. It just kind of goes, it rolls, right? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Give me just 1 second. I'm used to Google Meets.
You can see what's
share screen. Okay. So can everybody see my presentation? Somebody give me a thumbs up if it's working. All right. Excellent. Okay. So like I was saying, this is our first of two, well, I shouldn't say first of two, hopefully first of many GRiT ambassador presentations. So we're gonna have, these are all, this is a picture of all of our ambassadors, well, all except one. We have one up in Duluth who couldn't make it down for this ride last year. But so our ambassadors are going to present and talk about what it's like to be on the mountain bike team in the league in the state of Minnesota. For those of you who are on a computer or some sort of device where you can access the, whoops, oh no, I'm giving you my answer. For those of you who have access to a device, go ahead and type in the chat. What do you think the percentage of student athletes are in Minnesota? What percentage of them identify as female? All right, so I see some numbers coming. We've got 10, 25 with a question mark, 23. These are the numbers that we've had over the last several years. The Minnesota League has actually existed for longer than this, but this is the data that we have. And if you look, you can see that we've kind of been a little bit static. Our first year that we have records of 2012, it was 17.8%. I think our highest tiers in 2014 at 19%. Not a big range though. And last year we were at 17.9. So it's a pretty low percentage of our athletes that identify as female. And NICA several years ago set up a goal for us to reach 33% across NICA of both riders and coaches being female by 2023. That's really only a couple seasons away. So we have a lot of work to do to pull our own weight on that. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to our first presenter, Alanna. She's going to tell you about her experience, her awesome experience with riding in Minnesota.
Yeah, so hi again, everyone. I'm Alanna Moe. Like I said, I'm 16 years old. I'm involved in mountain biking, freestyle skiing, cross-country running. I'm a sophomore at Burnsville High School, and I'm on the Burnsville mountain bike team. And then I've been mountain biking for 6 years and have been on the Burnsville team for 5. So yeah. So I learned how to ride a bike when I was 9, so a little bit late getting into the game, but better late than never. And then I got into mountain biking when I was either like 10 or 11 after my dad started working at a bike shop. So the picture on the right is me with my first bike, and the picture on the left is me with my first mountain bike. So yeah. I went on a lot of pavement rides at first with my parents, and the motivator for these rides was always ice cream. So we always had to stop for ice cream. And to this day, ice cream is a main theme for biking for me. Yeah, so in 5th grade, I kind of got into it by going to a local bike shop's mountain bike camp. And that's kind of where I got my first experiences out on the trail. And it was a very good learning experience. Started working on skills and all of that good stuff. And then moving on to 6th grade, that's when I joined the Burnsville team after a coach who knew my dad approached him and she thought I would like it. And this was before 6th graders couldn't race. So I just practiced with the team and I watched a couple races. And there was 2 other female riders on the team. And there's a picture of me riding some logs. And then in 7th grade, I actually broke my pinky riding pavement kind of near Lebanon Hills, if you know where that is. I just went over my handlebars going down a hill and I broke my pinky. So I could not race because my cast did not allow me to reach my brakes. And 2 other girls who had never raced before, one of them, it was her first time riding like mountain bike trails, raced and they ended up joining the team and we all became friends. And that's the 3 of us later in the season at, I think it was the Stillwater race that year. Yeah, there's a lot of pictures of the 3 of us throughout this. So in 8th grade, I went to league camp at Cuyuna and I learned a lot and I started meeting people from different teams, which was really exciting. And I got a new bike. And then at this point on the Burnsville team, there were 2 high school and 4 middle school girls. And yeah, so yeah, I started, the picture on the top right is me with some other girls I was racing against that year. And we're all still friends now, which is exciting. I had some rough races throughout the season, but I got really into working on skills and just like having fun. So there's just pictures from different races and then another picture of me eating ice cream up at Cuyuna. So yeah. And then in 9th grade, it was my first year racing 2 laps. There were 5 high school girls and 1 middle school girl on the Burnsville team this year. We did ladies rides. We started ladies rides. The bottom right picture is the ladies ride we did in Cuyuna one day that we were up there for team camp, and that was really fun. And just focused a lot on progressing skills and speed simultaneously and just having fun and talking to different people and riding with as many people as I could. So yeah, there's some different pictures from races on there too. And then in 10th grade, which is last season and now kind of, I did a lot of quarantine and summer riding, as I'm sure some of you did as well. I got a new bike. I started riding my Santa Cruz Blur C. I started coaching mountain bike camps and clinics at Buck Hill last summer, and they'll also be doing it this summer too. And there was 3 high school and 3 middle school girls on the Burnsville team, which is about 20% of our riders. And I progressed a lot with speed this year and got used to racing different formats, and I had my first couple podiums, which was really exciting. And it was my first year that I was riding to hit 1,000 miles throughout the season. And I also became a GRiT ambassador, which has been really fun. I've really enjoyed that.
Dude,
it's just a bunch of pictures.
we're just out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We can move on to Emily.
Hi everyone. I'm Emily Broden again. I'm 15 now. That's I should change that. I play softball, I do downhill skiing and horseback riding along with mountain biking. I'm from Faribault. I have 2 dogs, a cat, and a snake as pets. I go to Northfield High School. I'm a freshman and I race on Cannon Valley Composite. So I started mountain biking in 6th grade. My first bike was my mom's bike from college, which is the top right picture. I rode at the Woolly Trails in Wisconsin on that bike. It was not the best experience, but it got me into it. And I practiced with the team that my brother was on, and I raced my first fat bike race, which I wiped out within the first 5 minutes right in front of the photographer, which is what that bottom picture is from. So moving on to 7th grade. In 7th grade, I started racing in the summer series. And I made some friends during the summer series that I got to race against then, and I still race with now. I started racing in NICA that year because 6th graders couldn't race yet. And I was the only girl of 13 teammates for the first part of the season. And 2 high school girls joined halfway through, which was amazing. And I'm still friends with them now, even though they both graduated. And I rode with one of the female coaches for most of my practices. And I raced my second fat bike race that year. So in 8th grade, I raced in the citizen category in summer series, and that was a super fun year. My first time ever doing 2 laps racing. And we had about 4 girls on the team, on the NICA team, including me. And I got my Trek Pro Caliber 9.6. So I switched from a Trek Marlin, I think it was. I didn't have the best NICA season, and I was, kind of on the fence about quitting, but it was the people and just taking breaks from it that kept me in it instead of just constantly racing. So moving on to 9th grade. So 9th grade, which is now, I didn't get to race summer series last year, and I'm still missing out on some now because I broke my nose recently, so I didn't get clearance to do them. But I rode at Giants Ridge for the first time back in August. And I rode the Jackpot Trail in Lutsen with my family in August as well. And I joined the Little Bella's ride program, which is an amazing program because for me, it helped keep the fun in mountain biking instead of just it constantly being riding. And our team grew to 20 people with 6 girls, which I think most of us are in that top picture. And I also became a GRiT ambassador this year. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alanna and Emily. I just wanted to jump in real quick before Caroline gets going to say that if you have any questions, feel free to jump in if it's something that's, relevant to the presenter, what they're saying at the moment, or you can always throw a question into the chat because we will have a Q&A session after all 3 of them are done presenting. So, all right, Caroline, it's all yours.
Hi again, I'm Caroline Haig from Bloomington, Minnesota. I'm a freshman from Jefferson High School and I ride for the Bloomington composite team, but actually now it's been split into 2 teams, but I used to ride for the composite team. And the 2021 season will be my 3rd season racing, and this is my 2nd season as a GRiT ambassador. So I did not grow up biking at all. I didn't ride for the first time until 2019, but my brother was on the Bloomington NICA team in 2017, so I was in 5th grade, and I was not planning on biking at all. I was like, that can be my brother's thing, not mine, and I just did not want to do it at all. I came to some races, but I was like, it's kind of fun to watch, but I wasn't not about actually biking. And then my mom forced me to go biking, and in the car, I was not very happy about it, but then after I was like, okay, it was a little fun. So then I kept going a little bit more, and I did some Buck Hill races and some summer series. And I joined the NICA team at the end of the summer, but gymnastics was still my first priority. So the picture on the right is me at my first ever ride, on mountain biking trails, which was actually 2 years ago from yesterday. And the picture on the left is a picture of me and my cousin, my brother at a race, but I was not biking. And so after that first season, I just rode for fun. I was not trying to win anything or go to the Olympics. I was just there for fun. And there's some pictures of me just having fun. I wore stupid glasses and just everything because as I said, I was still mainly focused on gymnastics. So I was just there for trying to get stronger and having fun. So this is more about my first season. I just joined and I couldn't come to many practices, but I went to a couple, but it just didn't really work out for me to go to practice, but I still raced as much as I could. And I love racing. I loved racing when I started and I still do. And it was so much fun. I did not know that much about biking or bikes or anything. So there's a picture of me on the left with two of my coaches before the race because my tire was basically flat and I went to go warm up and they were like, girl, you cannot be riding on that. So they had to fix it. And the picture on the right is me and one of my friends from the Edina team that I used to do gymnastics with. And we took a handstand picture race because it was kind of fun. This next slide is about me trying to force my friends to join the team because my mom made me go biking. So I figured if it worked to get me on the team, I could at least try to get some of my friends to join. So the one on the left was in quarantine when I took my friend who played hockey, and she could not join the team because she was too busy, but she said she had fun. And the picture on the right is me and one of my really close friends who I did get to join the team. And the picture in the middle is me giving her my bike because I was getting a new one and she needed a bike, so I gave her my old one. This is about last summer when I joined my club team called LCW, and I wasn't completely sure about biking and all the races and all that, but I was like, you know what? My brother's on the team. I can try it and just see what happens. So I joined and I loved it so much. The picture on the left is me at the Lutzen 99er, and I did the 69er with my dad. And I never ever thought I would bike however many 72 miles or whatever. I thought it was crazy, but I finished it and I was so proud of myself. And the picture on the bottom right is me with doing a manual with a coach who coaches for the USA mountain biking or something. And I thought it was so cool. I was fangirling. I was like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. So that's that. And this is a slide about all the amazing people I've met biking. I have made so many friends just joining all the different teams and seeing everyone. And the picture on the top right is one of my favorite pictures because it's me and my two friends from biking, and we're in different grades and on different teams. And we're not even at a biking event in the picture, but we're just so close from biking that we decided to take a picture. And this was actually at Sections for Nordic this March. This is a slide about practicing this season. So on the Bloomington team, we don't have a ton of girls. Now I think we're up to 7 to 10 girls, but I still have never been in the same group as another girl. So I've always been with the boys. And this season I ended up moving up a group, and it was a group of a bunch of scary teenage boys. And I did not talk to them at all during the season. I was so scared of them, but they are very, very nice. Now I am super close with all of them, and they're great. They really are. They look scary, but I promise they're not. So if you're in a group with a bunch of scary boys, just say hi and eventually you will be friends with them. Don't worry about it. This season with the time trialing, I thought was super fun. I had never really done a time trial at all, so I was just excited to try it out and see how it goes. And yeah, it was super, super fun. The weather was nice for all the races and I had a lot of fun. And this is just kind of like a random slide, but the top left picture is me and my brother doing a fat bike race this winter, and it was my first fat bike race and it was super fun. And I just think it's a cute picture with me and my brother next to each other. And the picture on the top right is I actually ended up quitting gymnastics to focus on biking just because gymnastics is a very different sport than biking, and I don't regret it at all. But I was ready to be done with it, and biking was just so much more fun for me. And it just happened to work out. And that's a picture of me and my teammates on my last day. And also, they support me so much through even not doing gymnastics anymore. So I just think it's so cool that even though I don't see them as much, they're still 100% there for me. And the bottom left picture is me and one of my closest friends. She's from the Edina team, and we ski and bike and run and everything together. And I would never met her if I didn't do biking or the other team. So I'm so happy that I joined biking. And the bottom right picture is me and some of the Bloomington biking boys from Nordic, because now that I am not afraid of them, we all took a picture it was like team pictures for the Nordic team. And I just think it's cool that I went from being afraid of them to taking pictures with them at the team pictures. And this is a slide for some of the amazing girls, female coaches from the Bloomington team. Lynn Cecil, actually, I think she presented for one of these, so you could go and find her recording. But she is seriously one of the nicest, sweetest, most like sunshiny people ever. She helped me get into biking and running and Nordic and just everything. She is seriously so sweet. And Sonia Pon is also super, super sweet. She is, well, first of all, she's an amazing biker. She is so talented. And sometimes she would ride with me at practice, which was so nice because we would just talk and she would help me pick lines and help me with racing and everything. And she is so sweet. And the bottom left picture is a picture of us matching with our ribbons at a fat bike race. This is about a trip I went on over spring break to Arizona with my club team. And it was so much fun. If you ever get the chance to go to Arizona to bike, 100% do it. It was so much fun. I was completely out of my comfort zone because before this, I really did not like scary rocks. I would just walk over them or go around them. But on the trip, I just went for it and I went over some scary rocks. So I think that was really just good to like try new things. And I also never thought I would ever go on a trip for biking. I never thought it would happen, but I went and I love it. It was amazing. And this is just about some of the girls on the girls' rides from Bloomington. The bottom right is one of my favorite pictures from a race. It's me and a couple of the older girls on the team. I mean, I say older, but we're all basically the same age, but we are technically the oldest on the team as 8th graders and freshmen. But it's just, I love it. It's so fun to see other girls join the team. And the top right and bottom left pictures are from the girls' rides, which we started doing this year. And we didn't do a ton, but we're already talking about doing more this year. So I'm really excited for that. And the top left is about, like I said, I used to do gymnastics, which is a huge like glitter and ribbons type of sport where everyone just loves it. And I was 100% like that. I love glitter and all of that. So I would always bring glitter to the races and ribbons. And if anyone wanted any, we would put it in their hair or on their face and just make everyone feel like welcomed and just kind of like a girls thing that the boys do love the glitter too. So we do give them the glitter, but just to have all the girls feel like, I don't know, just kind of like bond over it and just have fun.
All right. Thank you so much, all three of you. I've already shared this with Caroline, but I spent the entire winter in Arizona. I did a ton of riding out in Arizona as well. And yes, there are gazillion rocks out there. I mean, it is super, super chunky out there. So if there's anything that will help you get over a fear, it's to do a lot of it, right? It's like rocks, you come to Minnesota and you're like, rock garden, no big deal. So tons of fun. So does anybody have any questions? I'm actually going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Anybody have any questions for our presenters or for me even? Just go ahead and unmute yourselves or throw it in the chat if you have any questions. While people are thinking about things they might want to ask you, I would love to hear what is your number one piece of advice for finding joy in a sport that is still very predominantly male, so that you don't trying to get over that piece of feeling outnumbered all the time. What would be like your number one, your top piece of advice for that?
I would say I've got two things. Don't take it too seriously, because you're just gonna burn yourself out, and make friends with the girls that are in your grade or on your team, or girls that you hang around. Because once you get those friendships, it's gonna be a lot easier to have fun with it.
Yeah, I would just say to like stick to like having fun and try, like, even if you're like, oh, I really want to race super hard this weekend or whatever, like make sure you're finding the fun in that race, and whatever trail you're riding, like just like be aware of like how you get to have so much fun on your bike in nature and hang out with your friends. And I would definitely suggest riding with friends and family, because that always makes riding a lot more fun.
I completely agree with the not like putting too much pressure on it, because like I said, I really do love racing, but I think to love racing, you have to think of it more like, wow, I get to go ride my bike as fast as I can for an hour. Like, I think that is so fun. So I just think you can like race all you want, just make sure it's like the fun of racing, not just trying to win or try to do whatever. I just think it's so much more fun when it's not about podiuming or medaling or all that.
I know that in the conversations I've had with the three of you, it's come up. I can't remember if it's all three of you or who it is, but I know a couple of you have said that you've cried during races before. So I know that a lot of people are, you know, they're out there, they've got all the pressure, it's the anxiety, it's the adrenaline. So I was wondering if maybe a couple of you would be willing to speak to that and, you know, share that specific story of when you cried and what it was like, so that it's kind of take the stigma away from it a little bit.
Do you want to go first, Alanna?
I can, or you can go.
You go.
Okay. I have two instances. There's definitely been more, but the two that pop in my head right away was, I think when I was in 8th grade, I was racing at Detroit Mountain, and I was having a really good race, like top 10, top 8 maybe, and my chain fell off and it got stuck. And so I was like in the woods, getting passed by everyone, just struggling to put my chain back on. And I wasn't crying while I was putting my chain back on. I got it back on and I kept pulling, and I was almost to the finish line. And I saw my coaches like cheering me on at the finish line, and I started like bawling and like ugly crying. And there's a picture of me finishing somewhere that I'm like ugly crying. And it's like honestly like so okay to cry while you race, because I think it makes you go faster. Honestly, I think crying while you race may make you go faster. And then the second one I can remember, this was when I was in 9th grade racing at Austin. I was just about to finish, and so I was racing. The freshman and JV2 girls start together when we race, and we had a big pile up. And so one of the girls I raced against, she got hurt, and so there was an ambulance coming, and while I was finishing, the ambulance was trying to cross the path. And so I had to stop and brake really hard, and then I just started crying because I was like, hey, there's an ambulance here, and I just got stopped. And now my time's going to be slower, and so that's another one. I finished crying. So yeah, those are probably my two instances.
I've had a couple, but one that definitely comes to mind is that this was, I think, probably my 8th grade year, so I wasn't really having much fun with racing, and I was having a good race, and I crashed, and I had a mechanical, and I couldn't get it figured out, and I was getting passed in the woods, and I was like, well, there goes my good race, and I was just kind of just gave up and just cried about it, and got back on my bike and just finished the race and was just not happy with it. So that's my one.
That's awesome. Thank you. It's, you know, things happen, and racing is incredibly stressful. I can't remember, Caroline, did you have a good crying story to share?
I kind of do. I am definitely a crying type of gal. I said it. There we go. I've only cried once at a race, but at practice, I cried so much. I can't even lie about it. That's the truth. I have this like weird breathing thing where I like hyperventilate when I'm going super fast. So then every time that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, all the boys are like gonna think I'm like bad or whatever, and then I'd start crying. So there was that, which now I know they didn't even know I was crying. They don't care at all, which just don't even worry about it. And there was one race, it was like a time trial, like it was like there was no summer series last year, but it was through like the Three Rivers, and I was racing and it was at Murphy, and I had gotten a concussion there the last time I rode. So I was, even before I started, like when I saw on the list we had to go there, I was already like not excited, but I was like, you know what? I need to just do it. I need to get it over with. So I raced, and the whole race I was like, Caroline, don't fall, don't fall. And then I hit my handlebar in a tree and just like slid out. It wasn't like anything bad, but it was enough to just like completely mess with me. And I had been riding it like Cuyuna for a whole week, like the week before. So I was just so tired, and I was like scared, and just everything like all on me at once. I just cried the entire race, but I finished it. So it was a good learning experience to kind of know how I am and like how I work, and just know that like when I'm tired, I'm gonna cry. So that's my crying story.
It's really amazing how much pressure we put on ourselves, and you know, it just that theme just keeps coming up in all of your stories. You know, the pressure to perform, the pressure to keep it all together, and if we could just let go of that and have fun and enjoy the moment, it would just get us so far. So in order for us to reach this goal of 33%, what would be your advice for people to do? How are we going to how can everyone here help us get more girls on their teams and in the league?
I would say to just ask everyone you know, like absolutely everyone, and just keep riding your bikes. If you see a girl or a woman or anyone out on the trails and think they might be interested, like tell them about like the Minnesota High School League, and like see which team they could either be a rider on or coach on, like try to get them connected. Because I think the hardest part about getting involved with the high school league is like that first step to like, where do I start? And so definitely just like, if you see people out on the trails, say hi, like just have fun and talk to people and get everyone riding their bikes. That's what I would say.
That's kind of what I was gonna say, is that like kind of encourage the girls or the women that you know to go out and try it. And you know, if they don't necessarily like it, you can kind of like, oh, let's, you know, try again. But just like really encourage them to try it or keep trying it.
I 100% agree. Everyone who has basically met me, they've heard me tell them to join their biking team. I love it so much, and I just want everyone to love it. So there's people from like theater where I got them to actually join the team, and like driver's ed, I was like, hey, you guys should start mountain biking, or at school, or at gymnastics, or just everywhere. That's kind of my thing. I just tell everyone to join, and it's not necessarily just joining. I know my team, we have like a try it out thing where you can go to a practice or two without actually joining the team. So I think maybe not telling people that like join and race and everything right away, just tell them to come to a practice or come to a girls ride, because I think that would be less stressful and less pressure on them to join, and just to like try it out and see if they actually like it first.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we, because of COVID and everything, we've had to put a hold on the really big try it out sessions that the league used to host. But I love what you're saying about asking them to come ride. And in a way it can be less intimidating. Be like, hey, I'll take you out. I'll show you the trails. You know, just you and I, or maybe I'll get, you know, one other person from the team that I think you'll get along with, that kind of thing. You know, a small group. I know that I've been able to recruit several coaches by doing that. You know, it's just, it can be really intimidating to bring someone on to a big team where, or even a small team, just, you know, group of people where everybody there already knows how to ride. And if this person is a new rider, that can definitely be intimidating. So to just taking them out by themselves, like, hey, I'll show you, you know, we'll take it easy. You know, if something looks intimidating, you can always walk it. There's never any shame at all in walking it. I always try to tell people that at the beginning of every ride. So yeah, inviting everyone and being a walking advertisement. So if you've got any team gear, wear it. You know, we've got our GRiT jerseys. They're going to be for sale again soon. You know, I always try to wear team stuff or GRiT stuff whenever I'm out on the trails, and people will stop and ask, and then that's, you know, it's a conversation starter. Or I'll be wearing my team t-shirt at the grocery store, and I've had people stop and ask me, like, what? We have a mountain biking team? What's that? And so there I am, you know, picking out my cereal and telling people about the local mountain biking team. So that's probably one of the best ways to recruit. Just be an advertisement and invite people. Well, if no one has any questions for our presenters, anything else that any of you want to throw on there before we sign off? No? Excellent. All righty. Well, thank you everybody for watching tonight, for joining us. Thank you to our ambassadors for sharing your stories. And we will have 3 other ambassadors presenting at the end of June as well, a similar format. So you'll hear 3 completely different stories, and tell your friends, and we'll see you all next month. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.